Hi everyone, welcome to Digging with Doug. I'm Doug Oster from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and today it's all about the birds. We're out on a very chilly winter morning. So why are we're talking about birds right now? Because what we want to do is we want to start attracting the birds right now so that when spring comes along, we'll get lots of birds. They'll come to the feeder, but also they'll want to eat all the bugs in the garden. During the winter, what we're going to do is we're just going to feed them my favorite feed, which is black oiled sunflower seeds. And we'll just fill up the feeders with that, but I use lots of other things to feed them, which we'll talk about later. But after we fill up our feeders, the most important thing to know is where to put this feeder so that you get as many birds as possible. And the number one thing is having the feeder by some kind of cover. Of course, we can't plant anything right now, so when we do put a feeder up, have it near something evergreen like this, these big hemlocks, or a holly, something where the birds can stage before they come to the feeder. They're going to go into the staging area, they're going to look around, make sure there's no cats around or any other predators. They're going to come to the feeder, get their feed, and go back into that staging area, that hiding area, and then they're going to enjoy that seed and come back and forth. So having some kind of area where they can stop first before coming is great. Now there's somebody else that's interested in the feed too, and that's our friend the squirrel. I use a couple different techniques to keep them out of the bird feeder. One is using this old piece of ductwork screwed on the bottom of a pole feeder. The squirrel will come up this far, he can't get around, it keeps him off this. Another thing I use is a type of feeder that when they jump up on it, it closes and they can't get to the feed. And then I actually feed the squirrels, give them their own area so they're full over there and won't bother the seed. Let's take a look at that right now. I grabbed a piece of old feed corn, buy this by a 50-pound bag, and this is just a couple pieces of wood put together, and then I just put a carriage bolt on here. The trick really is a nice thick bolt like this so they can't get this corn off, because what they like to do is they like to just strip the whole ear off and just go somewhere else with it. We want to watch them feed, that's the fun part. And we just put it on here and just start screwing it on, and before you know it, the squirrels will be here enjoying this instead of our bird feed. Now let's go down and look at one of those squirrel-proof feeders I was talking about. This might be my favorite feeder. It can go close to the house because it is squirrel-proof, and so the birds, you can see them right through the front window. What will happen is the squirrel will jump up here and it closes the access to the food. He can't get any of it. Maybe some right here on the lip, but that's it. I love watching the birds. Besides the fact that they're going to be eating all the bugs out of the garden, during the winter, just seeing them enjoying this seed is something you really can't put into words. It's really a wonderful thing. Let's go down and take a look at some of the different things that you can give the birds to give them a treat. These are just some of the types of food that you can use to attract the birds. When you mix up the different things that you're using, you'll bring in different types of birds. Most of the stuff here comes from a company called Kohl's, and they make some of the best products for attracting birds. First one I want to talk about is this Blazing Hot Blend. These are seeds covered in a hot pepper powder. And the birds can't taste hot pepper, but the squirrels can. So if you can't get a barrier up for your bird feeder, or your bird feeder is too close to the house and they could just jump on it, this works great because once the squirrels taste this, they're not going to want to eat it. Another thing we could do is use a seed that they don't like to eat. This is called safflower seed. And the squirrels, it's just not something that they prefer, but the birds love it. And then the third thing is what we talked about before, feeding the squirrels. This critter munch is great stuff. Take a close look at this also when we talk about something for the squirrels. This is called Flaming Squirrel Seed Sauce. If you use black oiled sunflower seeds like I do, this Flaming Squirrel Seed Sauce will keep the squirrels away. Next up for the birds are suet products, and they're basically just a fat that gives them quick energy, important for them in the winter. I love these suet pearls. They're a great way to just put them on top of the feeder, and blue jays, woodpeckers, all sorts of different types of birds will go after them. Got some suet pearls, some smaller ones, and then the more conventional way we're used to seeing that are those suet cakes out there, and they fit right up into the feeder. Now, how about a treat for the rest of the birds? White millet is something for ground feeders, like juncos. We have lots of juncos around, and they're here just for the winter. They'll just go nuts over it. And then all sorts of wonderful things you can put into the feeder. This is a suet blend and blue ribbon blend. It has the very best seeds in it. The birds will love you for it. It's a good treat to give them. And then there are these peanuts. You can buy just regular roasted peanuts. I bought these at a feed store. I bought these up at the Mars Agway, a big box of them. And I'm telling you, blue jays, titmice will go absolutely crazy over them. I love to watch them pick up the peanut, fly away, and open it up. Now remember, if you have questions about anything that we talked about today, or if you want to see a homemade recipe to make your own suet, log on to www.post-gazette.com/homes and click on the Gardening Forum button. You can also go to the Post-Gazette members only site, which is called PG Plus, to see my blog and other videos. Until then, I'm going to kick back and just watch the birds.